What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another stimulus update. Today is Saturday, December 19th, and we want to provide a midday, kind of later afternoon update for you guys so you know what is currently going on. First, okay, I am going to come back later and do a follow-up update for you guys as well, because we are getting reports that we could potentially see the agreement on this deal sometime today, maybe later on tonight. We could also potentially see the bill. We can see the text of this bill sometime tonight, but most are expecting this will happen most likely tomorrow. So we will have to reevaluate where we're at later on tonight and tomorrow as well. But for now, let's talk about what we know. First, there are three main things that people are talking about that are worried about here on this channel. One is the unemployment benefit, the $300 per week. The other is the $600, $700, or possibly $1,200 stimulus check. The third one is rental assistance and the eviction moratorium. Now, the biggest hurdle actually isn't any of those three, but I'll get to that in a minute. First, let's address those three issues. First, the $300 weekly unemployment benefit is looking like it's going to sit anywhere between 10 to 13 weeks. It was supposed to go up to the full 16 weeks, but being that we went from $300 billion for PPP funding for small businesses, now adding an additional $25 billion, we sit at $325 billion for that. They're trying to pull money in other places. This is one of those places that they're pulling money from. I don't think that's right, but this is what they're doing based on all reports. Again, all this stuff could change, but this is what we know right now. Be between 10 to 13 weeks at $300 per week. This includes the PUA and the PEUC. So if you're on either one of those unemployment programs, you will continue to get $300 per week up until the allotted time frame. Now, there could be a phase out period, but that doesn't look likely at this point. Most likely what is going to happen, and Democrats are opposed to this, they do not want to see just a complete, there you go, this is the deadline, you hit that deadline and you are done. We take away the $300. That's what happened at the end of July. And on August 1st, the deal just went away. The $600 just went away. And people stopped spending. They stopped really saving. They stopped doing a lot of stuff. Okay? So Democrats don't want this to just end. They'd rather do a phase out. But their phase out is, let's get to the 13 weeks and let's phase it out for 3 weeks. Republicans are like, no. Let's either get to 10 weeks, we phase it out for 3, or we get to 13 weeks even and just drop it. That's currently what's on the table. As far as the second stimulus check, there's still a lot of hope, a lot of optimism that there's going to be a $1,200 stimulus check. There are a lot of people talking about this. Bernie Sanders is the main one that's really pushing for this. Now, I do believe he's going to try to push a little bit harder. He's probably doing that this weekend, and he will most likely continue to push. Even once an agreement is done, he will most likely try to push for more stimulus checks. But at this point, $1,200 just doesn't seem as likely because they are still trying to keep the cost down under $1 trillion. By adding and going to $1,200, which doubles the cost of the $600 stimulus check, this essentially takes us from a little bit under $900 billion to about a little bit over $1 trillion. And so that's where some Republicans are just dropping off, saying, if that's what's going to be in the bill, I will not support it. And so that's the issue right now, is they're trying to keep it anywhere between $900 and $1 trillion. But if stimulus checks are what's going to push it up and over, then they're going to stick to under $900 billion at this time. The $600 could still go to people on unemployment. At this time, it is being talked about where people on unemployment cannot double dip and get stimulus checks and unemployment benefits. So right now, again, I don't know how this is going to work, but this is what's currently being discussed is, how can we put this in there? How can we fix the language so that people on unemployment that are going to get $1,200 per month, they should not be allowed to get a $600 stimulus check. And so again, I don't know how that's going to work, but that's currently the report, is that's what they're talking about. And there is some agreement there. There is some agreement. So I don't know how much agreement. I don't know if this is agreement between Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell, or if this is some agreement based on the other rank and file members of Congress. So until we actually hear from Nancy Pelosi, we're just going to go with this possible that this does happen. But as far as what we know, a $600 stimulus check is currently what's on the line. Some people are still saying $600 to $700, and that could be the case. Mitch McConnell alluded to that, where $600 will be the cost, but people that have families could get $700. So let's say I was single, it was just me and my wife, and we don't have kids, then we would just get $600 a piece. But if you have kids, if you have children, this is what they're saying, then you could get an extra $100. Now, we don't know if that's an extra $100 per child, extra $100 per person. We have no clue, but what we do know is $600 is likely to be the main constant in all these negotiations. So $1,200 stimulus check at this point, it's not off the table, but it's being looked at as this is what those people want, this is what a handful of people want, but the majority, the bulk, they have agreed $600 is where we need to start. Another thing that is still on the table, on the negotiation table, is will we provide an additional 1 month of federal eviction moratorium, that federal eviction extension? Will we provide that? Right now, Republicans are saying, we don't need to provide that. Let's just provide the $25 billion in rental assistance. And so this is one of the things that they are continuing to fight over. But again, this isn't the biggest thing. But as of right now, most reports indicate that Republicans would go for a 1 month eviction extension, but they will not go any further than that. Democrats have been wanting 4 full months. That's not going to happen. Republicans will not do that and threaten to take away all the eviction moratorium for 1 month. If Democrats are demanding 4 months, Republicans are saying, okay, you want 4 months? How about we give you nothing? They're pretty much doing that parenting trick that, oh, you want to go and play on play on your Xbox for 2 hours? Well, how about I just give you 5 minutes? How's that sound? That's the way Republicans and Democrats are going back and forth at each other right now. So we'll see what happens there. This is good news that Republicans are open to the idea of giving 1 full month of a rental or eviction moratorium, simply because people are saying there's no way the federal government can implement a system where they can issue this rental assistance to people that are back on their rent. There's no way we can do that in like a week. There's no way that's going to happen. So we need to have something in there for a slight eviction protection. And that's why they're considering 1 month. Now, here's the biggest hurdle. The biggest hurdle, which I said earlier today as well, and it's still the biggest hurdle, which is weird because this was not even on the map. This was not even on anybody's radar until about a few days ago. But the biggest hurdle right now, they're calling it the Toomey provision. Because Pat Toomey, he wants to end the federal lending programs and not allow the Biden administration to open them back up again without Congress's approval. They're calling it the Toomey provision. It has a name. So, based on the most recent updates that we got today, Steve Mnuchin has been working his rounds in the Senate Republicans today, talking with pretty much every single one, and trying to get, based on the report, an idea of who would support a bill that doesn't include a cancellation of these programs. If you remember, Steve Mnuchin is the one that pulled all this money back. We do not know if this was because Steve Mnuchin thought this was the best move for the Treasury, or was this something that came up over his head, was a demand from President Trump? We don't know. Nobody has said. But what we do know at this point is that the money is back at the Treasury. The Federal Reserve does not have this money, so it will require Steve Mnuchin to kind of get on board here. So what we know, these reports also indicate that Republicans are looking for other ways to get what they want out of this entire bill if these lending programs are extended into the next administration. Right now, Republicans want these canceled. They do not want these to, be open and have the possibility of Joe Biden and Janet Yellen opening these back up, opening the doors to potentially lending out billions and billions of dollars. Again, this is a lending program. They're essentially supposed to pay this money back. But again, these were horrible programs. These were horrible programs to begin with. Absolutely dreadful. Many businesses did not take up this offer. They would rather go bankrupt than try to use this money, because it was so bad and it was almost impossible to actually get a loan through these programs. So What I can tell you right now is the federal lending program is the one big roadblock. And right now, this is preventing any stimulus package from getting passed. Some say that if this can't be agreed upon and under Democrats' terms, just so I want to be clear, if this cannot be agreed upon under Democrats' terms, which means this program has to stay open, then these reports are indicating that Nancy Pelosi is willing to pretty much shut down all negotiations for the time being. She will wait until possibly January 5th when we could have the new majority leader in the Senate. It could be Chuck Schumer, we don't know. And also potentially wait until January 20th when Joe Biden would be to take office. So right now, that's what's being said. Now, I hope this isn't true, because if this is true and this stimulus package is pretty much on the brink of either passing or completely just combusting, which is essentially that's what it looks like, then millions are going to become, I don't know about millions, but thousands, probably tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of people will become homeless. There'll be many on the verge of going hungry and a lot on the verge of being right there. That's what we know. Now, some people are optimistic that a deal will be agreed upon tonight. Based on what we know, the House is supposed to hold a vote tomorrow at 1 p.m. Well, how can they hold a vote if they have nothing to vote on? So what they're saying is, right now, Nancy Pelosi is pushing to get a deal done. She's racing against the clock to get a deal done tonight so that the bill can finally be written. We can actually see the bill. And then she can give every single member in the House this bill so they can look at it, review it. And then as of 1 p.m. tomorrow, they will vote on this. The Senate will most likely vote on this on Monday. Now, this also means the government would most likely shut down for potentially 1 day. But what we know is they are not opposed to doing another stopgap bill and extending the government funding for another 2 to 3 days. So that's what we know right now. I'm going to be watching this information, the news reports, the updates very closely later on today. Right as I finish this video, as I finish this, I'm going to be watching and seeing, are we seeing more updates? What's happening? What's going on? And as I learn more, I promise I'll come back and share more. I'll most likely do another update later on today. So if you want to, consider subscribing so I can continue to keep you updated on everything that's going on. And I'll see you guys on the next one.